have his next guest returning to the show. She's a comedian, a contributing writer to the New York Times, I've heard of it, and author of Maeve in America. Maeve in America. Reading from that now, please welcome Maeve Higgins.
Thank you, Chris. In January 2014, a girl from Cove in Ireland, formerly known as Queenstown, journeyed across the Atlantic and skipped rosy-cheeked off an airplane at JFK Airport. That was me, and I had too much blush on. In January of 1892, a girl from Queenstown, now known as Cove, skipped rosy-cheeked off a boat at Ellis Island to start her new life. That was Annie Moore. She was flushed at the fuss being made of her by the officials on the island. You see, Annie Moore was the first immigrant through the new processing centre that opened its doors on January 1st of that year. Now, maybe her rosy cheeks were caused by the icy wind whipping through the harbour, or maybe she just lit up with anticipation of seeing her parents for the first time in many years, and maybe the relief of no longer being her two little brothers' sole guardian, as she had been on their voyage and back home in Ireland. I really have no idea why she was blushing. I grew up knowing all about the people that left my hometown, but really nothing about what happened next. Cove is an island in the mouth of Cork Harbour. It's the departure point for more than 2 million Irish people between 1845 and 1945. Cove was the last place Titanic stopped before it, well, I don't want to ruin the movie. So you see, this whole leaving thing, it's in me. Every immigrant has a story of one life left behind and another one started anew. Annie Moore, the first immigrant through the gates of Ellis Island, she never had any papers. She was an undocumented, unaccompanied minor traveling with her two little brothers, and she sailed right in. In fact, she was welcomed by the US authorities, who gave her a gold coin to commemorate the occasion, and she was reunited with her parents. I'm here on an O1 visa. I'm officially an alien of extraordinary ability. Thank you. That's my Tinder bio. I think a lot about Annie and about me, and I think about the people who were simply born here, and the people I think about the people who died trying to get here, and the people who have lived here since childhood but just don't have a path to citizenship. And I'm really blown away by the dumb luck involved in it all. Annie settled just a couple of miles away from Ellis Island on the Lower East Side. She lived with her parents and her brothers, and then she married a clerk in a bakery. They had 11 children, but only 5 of those children made it through to adulthood. Can you even imagine burying your children like that? I definitely can't. I tuck that part away in the "she must have been different from us with fewer feelings." You know that folder? The delusional one full of current stories from far-off places that are just too sad to bear. Annie died when she was 50 years old. I recently went for a wander around Annie's old neighbourhood, and I passed St. Mary's, which is the local church founded by Irish immigrants, which was rebuilt after being burned down by anti-Catholic nativists in the 1830s. By the time Annie arrived, the Irish had a surer footing in the city's political and social life. They were clannish and looked out for their own. I've got mixed feelings about this. I'm so glad that they made it, but I'm sorry that they often stood on the backs of other marginalised communities to do so, and I'm sorry that many of us pull the ladder up after ourselves. A lot has changed since Annie Moore sailed across the Atlantic. The ban on Chinese immigrants, which was in place when she arrived, that was lifted long ago. But Travel Ban 3.0 now blocks immigrants and refugees from 7 other countries. That ban was created and supported by people whose own parents and grandparents walked through that same Ellis Island door, the same one Annie did. Catholic churches are no longer being set alight by nativists. The attackers come now for temples and mosques and synagogues, causing fear and sometimes death to the worshippers inside. I'm afraid we're hearing echoes so loud they've become the sound of today. I don't believe in good or bad immigrants. Annie Moore never made a fortune. She never wrote a book or invented a computer, and why should she? Why should any immigrant be deemed extraordinary to deserve a place at the table? I think Annie did enough. She was just one woman who lived a short life and a hard life. And Annie, I think, lives on today, not just in her descendants. She lives on in every person arriving from a country shot through with rebellion and hunger, and in every immigrant that gives America her humanity.
Amen, Maeve. Maeve Higgins, she'll be back in the second half. Make welcome Bela Fleck.